Searching podcasts for Dave, and one more time.
Rumor has it that in this week's episode, these two fools talk about me needing money and doing some pretty bad commercials lately. And your point is? Look, when you're my age, you chase that bag, bruh. When you're 87 years old and they want to pay you to do less work than I'm doing here, you take it. So, get off my jock, you nerds. This is Dave and Juan.
And 3.
Number 2.
A big old 1.
Woohoo!
Waha, ba-da-ba-ba, all that stuff. America. On his day off.
Hey.
Juan is here on his day off to entertain and inform the masses of the United States of America. And for that, y'all, you are
welcome.
welcome. Hi, everybody. How are you? I'm Dave.
I'm Juan.
And this is Dave and Juan.
More time.
Yeah, time stamping in on Monday morning, the Monday after Easter. After Easter's, just couldn't squeeze it in this weekend. Said, yeah, well, maybe we can get one in. This will be about as fresh a podcast.
It's close to live. This is like the Tonight Show or something, live on tape right before.
Dang near live. That's assuming that we get it done to drop by tonight. So just the fresh one that just fell off the truck, y'all. It's coming to you here. We hope everybody had a wonderful Easter weekend, whatever that means to you. If you celebrate it as you celebrated. It's about that time of year that there are families or people you don't see often. You're like on Facebook and stuff, and it's sort of that Easter. I guess it's Christmas, but Easter's the other one. Like, oh, okay, it's the catch up. Everybody they can get a family shot out there, and
I don't know. And I talked about this. I've talked about this probably every year, where it's the C and E's at church, the Christmas and Easter people.
The C and E
show up, and it's not that they're there. I mean, my church there's a lot of space there, but it's if you're coming, arrive on time, please. And not to their fault, but it's the freaking ushers at my church.
Yes.
Who, like my church is, it's a non-denominational church. So if you ever been to one, you know the formula. The first 20 or 30 minutes are music, and the ushers seem dead set on I'm gonna find you a seat as close to the front as I can, no matter how late you are.
That drives me nuts.
But then you got this one guy who's older, and I told my wife, I said, I'm gonna just give him a notepad, because what the dude does is 3 times, in between bringing people up, he walks up the aisle again to go see how many seats are available. It's like, bro, nobody walked up. The spaces are still there.
I'm
and
reminded.
Then he dances back up the aisle.
Yeah, I'm reminded. Adam Carolla used to have a pretty good line about why he hated parking lot attendants and various things. And he says, "Man, I give you a windbreaker. You weren't a $10 windbreaker, and you think you've got some kind of authority to tell me where I go and where to park. But that's what happens, man. You give
the guy a lanyard.
Yeah, just and the only authority.
And I think half the time the people don't really want to go in the front.
No.
Again, I've got, we're like an arena. There's elevated seating, where there's plenty seats. And this guy dead set, they're pulling, two, can you move over? Hey, can y'all slide down? No, I can't.
Because more often but there are other things that factor in. And this is a long going pet peeve of the Dave and Juan More Time podcast. All right. To me, what gets me is, we're Catholic mass. Dude, if we're already sitting down, we did all the beginning stuff, and they're getting ready, they're doing readings, or it's between the first reading and the second reading. Man, how dare you try to be seating somebody way up in the good seats that we got here early for?
Exactly.
Right. And if I don't get there early enough, you know what? That's on me. I got to suck it up. I'll do whatever. But yeah, it drives me.
I'd like to tell the people there are plenty of seats in Get Here on Time.
Get Here on Time. Well, look. And yes, technically, you can squeeze more people in. That's not why Where's the fairness of people that get there? And look, it depends on the mass. I mean, some situations you better be there 30 minutes early. If you're
Yeah,
not,
I got there yesterday before the first service ended, just so I could get in and get a seat.
yeah. So come on, ushers, tighten up. Do a better
Well, and then
job.
at my church too, we also, again, non-denominational, we got the little cafe and everything. So people will walk in 20 minutes later with their coffee in their hand.
Well, you
Not
can
their
bring
Starbucks, their coffee that they bought at the cafe at church.
you can bring coffee into the
Bro,
service.
I eat donuts and drink a Diet Dr. Pepper in church.
That's that is nowhere in the Bible, Juan.
It's nowhere where it says you can't.
Nowhere in the Bible. He said,
I was it was a little bad yesterday because I guess the bakery that they usually get the donuts from was closed for Easter. So they had some different ones and they tasted cold. So I'm guessing they picked them up Saturday.
Crisis at the Healing Place Worship Center. I'm just saying that because you got the shirt on, but oh no. We don't feel close to Jesus today. We ain't got the donuts. Come on now.
I had them. They were just cold.
Oh, well, at least you sacrificed a little for that. So, again, we hope everybody had a pleasant Easter, and you probably went through the good candy so far.
We didn't even get any candy.
Really? We did a little bit. Of course, that's my wife. My wife's the Easter bunny around here, and God bless her for that. But so very fortunate. My younger son, both my kids, men.
Yeah.
My
They're still your kids.
Yeah, they're here, and it is funny because my wife still feels compelled. You got to have a basket, and the basket gets a little more mature. I think they're more worried about the check that's in the basket, and
yeah.
Easter's a big holiday for my wife. We grew up, it was chocolate bunnies and whatever, but she they exchange decent gifts and checks, man. I mean, like cards with checks in it. I mean,
yeah, no, we never, we were just a candy deal. And I don't know, my daughter got something, but I think she just brought it upstairs with no basket deal.
well,
But then she had to go out, so she dog sits for a number of people in the neighborhood. But there's some that I said they're like irresponsible. It's where they'll hit her up on a Friday. Say, hey, we took a last minute beach trip. You mind taking care of the dogs? It's like, but then Saturday it was, oh, we're getting Walmart delivery. Could you go set up the kids' baskets for Easter?
Oh man, now that's okay. I don't know who these people are, and the fact that they're employing and giving money to your daughter is a nice thing, but that ain't good parenting right there, man.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, look, far be it from me to claim the high road on, because I make mistakes, made a zillion mistakes in the 20 somewhat years of being a dad, but that seems pretty. I'm going to hire a teenager to go set up the oh, and wait, pick up the baskets.
They got Walmart delivery.
And the stuff for the baskets was in Walmart delivery?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just wrong. That's
But then it was supposed to get there between 9 and 10 last night. And
you mean on Saturday? On Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday night. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then it was late, so she had to go before church yesterday to go do it.
Well, that's last freaking minute.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I mean, I didn't think these parents could come off any worse, but they just did. Yeah. Like, didn't even. Well, I guess worse would be not to have anything. But hey, it all. I read, and I'm gonna give credit to it because it's Tim Dillon's the comedian. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was Rogan, because he joked about his daughters were older now. They're like in high school. So I guess Tim Dillon asked, for Easter, do you do like Easter baskets, whatever? And, Rogan made the comment about, well, they're a little older now. And, when they kind of get the understanding, oh, wait, mom and dad's involved in this. And for the children out there, the Easter Bunny is real, y'all. And so I'm just saying, but, when kids get a little older, they do other things. And they said, start wondering like, well, how come that, some kids get everything on their list, and how come?
Yeah, that's always a hard deal.
How come Santa's so much
more generous? Give me everything on mine.
How come Santa's so much more generous to the kids that already got everything than the ones that need it? And Tim Dillon was saying, well, kids, Santa does like the suburbs. He is more fond.
He doesn't have to get out as quick.
He is more fond of the suburbs. 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 He is more fond of the su So anyway, so yeah, we hope everybody had a wonderful Easter and going through the candy and whatnot. We did a we didn't. We attended a crawfish boil
Hmm.
yesterday with my in-laws. And I'm kind of coming to the conclusion, and I know this is a terrible thing for occasion to say. I might be done with crawfish.
Forever.
I don't know, man. It's I don't want to say I'm too old for it because I just never feel good when I'm done eating crawfish, man. Now, granted, I had a few beers along the way, but I can drink a few beers and not feel terrible.
You
But
gotta go get you some ice cream after because I think that the milk kind of coats your stomach after.
it's not that, man. It's not the stomach. It's just I feel like bloated and just
Dirty.
yeah, man. Oh, we were laughing last night. Uh, I must have washed my hands 12 times. I mean, we even just like, okay, what is it? Is it just like, or the older you get, does the stuff just sink deeper into your
I
skin? Like,
I have look. I'm 63 years old. I've never come up with a full a way to wash your hands after eating crawfish that actually works.
everybody's
Yeah,
got their tricks.
right. You may go throw some toothpaste on there, and for the next 3 minutes it'll smell like toothpaste. But then you rub your hands, and then 10 minutes later, crawfish.
Some people use salt. I've seen that before where you kind of
Salt. I've seen like Listerine. Yeah.
we were talking about that on the way back from the crawfish boil. My wife had some hand sanitizer. Again, this is after having washed our hands,
Yeah,
washing the
I think
skin
you're
off
just
my hands.
masking the smell, basically.
Exactly. We put some hand sanitizer on there for a little bit, and it was like, wait a minute. I thought it was working. We're thinking, oh man, we need to like come up with our own like crawl gone or something. Some. But yeah, I think it just lasted as long as you could still smell I don't know if it's the alcohol or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. So, like I said, if you rub your hands or touch your hands on everything else, you basically
So
just scraped it back down to the crawfish funk.
yeah, so we had a lovely time. Everything about a crawfish boil is fun, but I'm realizing I can pretty much go to one and enjoy myself and not eat crawfish. Because the other thing too is they make all the sides. Like my wife makes big old vegetable tray and dips and fruit
I've just gotten
trays
where I
and
just rather go eat it, go buy 3 or 4, 5 pounds in a restaurant and just eat there.
yeah, that's an old guy problem. I prefer boiling shrimp. It's more bang for the buck.
Now,
Shrimp,
here's what I'm thinking about getting is because you talk about boiling shrimp. They've got those. Have we ever talked about a swamp bucket?
you might
It's
have.
basically like a 5 gallon bucket, and it's got an electric heating element in it.
Oh, okay.
And it's designed to boil small batches of shrimp or crawfish or I guess whatever. You do it outside, but still, it's probably a lot more clean than boiling shrimp on your stove and
It
things
just
like
seems like
that.
it'd be a big old electricity suck on that, huh? I
I
mean,
don't think it is. My brother-in-law has one. He says it takes some getting used to as far as the timing that they give you. He said it's not.
yeah.
Yeah, you got to tweak
Have the fun of a crawfish boil or a shrimp boil is, a little bit of danger, lighting up the propane.
it.
Yeah, that's the yeah, I
I
enjoy
was at
seeing
a crawfish ball one time as an adult with children, with other adults with children. And as the no, this guy was frying a turkey. So the grease getting hot,
oh bro.
and some idiot threw ice in it.
No, well, yeah, idiot, right?
Yeah.
Idiot. And man, listen, frying a turkey, you don't need anybody you love or anything you value anywhere near where people are going to be frying turkeys.
Yeah.
And by the way, hey, here's the deal. There's a plus and a minus, a give and a take, risk reward. All right. Fried turkey's fine, but not when you compare it to the life and habitat threatening aspects of frying a freaking turkey, man. I
Yeah, because
mean,
most it's not like people. I guess here, people tend to fry crawfish or fry turkeys like at Thanksgiving and Christmas, and more often than not, you're doing it under some cover, as
right.
opposed to just boiling crawfish. You're out in the open
And depending when,
with not a
oftentimes,
flammable liquid in the pot.
and many of the people that are doing this have they've imbibed a little bit. Their reasoning and their reflexes might not be what it should be, and there are some things that seem like What's the worst thing that can happen? Oh, some pretty bad things can happen. Pretty bad. Speaking of bad things can happen, I pulled this. I wanted to play it, and I'm going to try to play it for you and for all of America. We've talked before about we'll see whether or not Robert Kennedy Jr. actually changes the laws or helps to get laws changed with pharmaceuticals being able to advertise directly to the public. I was listening to something or watching something the other day, and I'm not a doctor, although I play one on a podcast, and I'm not even 100% sure. Something called Keytruda. Don't know it from right, but it might be. I don't know if it's for cancer or what they claim it's for. Okay, but and this is their own. They play this, so this is not like blood. I want to just play. You just got to. It's almost a comedy. Imagine Saturday Night Live doing a sketch about the side effects of this thing. Let me try to get this on here. I'm gonna play it. Maybe you can hear this. Hang on a sec.
Cause your immune system to attack healthy parts of your body during or after treatment. This may be severe and lead to death. See your doctor right away if you have cough, shortness of breath, chest pain, diarrhea, severe stomach pain, severe nausea or vomiting, headache, light sensitivity, eye problems, irregular heartbeat, extreme tiredness, constipation, dizziness or fainting, changes in appetite, thirst or urine, confusion, memory problems, muscle pain or weakness, fever, rash, itching or flushing. There may be other side effects. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions, including immune system.
Yeah, what can this thing cause?
Dude,
I like that you've got both diarrhea and constipation.
It could kill you.
Right. Death is one of the first ones.
Might just make you feel, yeah, when one of the side effects is, possible death. But I guess anything's possible. But
what is the medication? Is for cancer, you said?
I don't know. I cut it off before. Hang on, let me see. Let's see if it finishes there.
Clinical trials exploring ways to treat even more types of cancer. It's true. Keytruda from Merck.
There we go. Man, listen.
Then now all these drugs, can't they just call something a name that's simple to say or remember?
No. Why would they do that? Why would they,
I guess it sounds more, high end or scientific if you throw some random word in there.
And hey, listen, I don't know these things. I don't know. It's possible that this is the best thing, ever, and the law is the law. But it's comical when you start. Like you say, name something. Are you planning on getting an organ transplant? Well, it sounds like I might need one after taking this stuff. But
yeah,
hey,
imagine how bad you got to be to be willing to say, well, it's death, but heart attack.
They don't count on you listening to it.
Yeah,
right.
No.
So I forget what the commercial was. I don't think it was a radio commercial. It might have been an online thing. So I'm sure while all this is playing, there are people frolicking in a field or, smiling.
Sitting in a bathtub looking out over the doughy meadow.
Smiling while they put their shoes on in the morning to go for a walk. I don't know what they're doing, but it's sort of
it's the whole the back 45 seconds of a 60-second medical commercial is like what car commercials used to be.
Financing. Yeah.
Right. So, it's where we legally have to say this. We're just hoping nobody listens to it.
Right.
And the vocal delivery on that stuff is never, it's never alarming. It's
no.
Could cause death.
Like if you gave me this script to read and then everything, I'd be like halfway through, I'd be depressed. Like, oh dang.
Right. It's like I said, there's no sense of urgency in it. It's
If you had a conscience while you're reading this, you'd say like, whoa, why y'all taking this?
Right.
Like it's almost impossible to believe that you got something that's worse than this. Come on now.
The vocal tone is, if you just listen to that without paying attention to the words, it's very peaceful. It's something you would want.
Well, speaking of vocal tones, and a guy, I guess, he just must need the money now. Is Morgan Freeman is showing up on some commercials more and more.
Dude, on that bestwhatever.com.
That's dumb. That's the is that the realtor, whatever?
Yeah, where you can't say such and such.
Here's what gets me about that commercial, right?
Yeah.
Is it's so original.
It's the least creative thing in the world.
Correct.
It's like,
least creative, not even funny. You
Right.
know,
Listen, look, I've worked for ad agencies and yeah, not doing that level of commercial. But the bottom line is if as a creative and a copywriter, I would have pitched that first or at all, I think it would, you get laughed at. All right, somebody else picked this up.
the whole commercial, I guess. I mean, I don't know what they're paying Morgan. They're probably paying him a good chunk of money, and maybe they didn't have the money to actually buy a script. Hell, I could have written a better script than that. That's my deal. It's like if you're, but that's my point. Morgan just must need the money right now because there's no way he looked at that and said, "Yeah, this is
And Morgan, he doesn't need to be on TV.
Well,
Close up.
he's one of those guys at this point. He's a legend. So, you just look at, hey, if you look, dude, you get a good close up of most folks.
Yeah.
Over the age of 40 something. I mean, I'm guessing some of the younger folks are, and you got the genetic freaks like a Brad Pitt that apparently that dude probably still looks good no matter what.
Yeah.
But you get a close up on, Jack Nicholson. Well, he's
Oh yeah.
Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken. I like Christopher Walken because he just looks like a guy that's like living in the trailer park next to you, man. He just,
well,
hair up
did
in
you
the air in
see,
the
not
morning.
directly in line with that, but some Hollywood tour the other day, a bus was driving and what the hell is his name? Real good looking guy from the Brat Pack.
Which Brat Pack? I mean, the Rat,
No,
Brat
the
Pack.
Brat Pack.
Rob Lowe?
Yeah, Rob
Yeah.
Lowe happened to be where this Hollywood tour bus passed.
Oh, Rob Lowe's he's genetically different. That dude's a pretty man.
And the guy on the drive said, "Oh, look, everyone, it's John Stamos."
John Stevens.
And Rob Lowe went up to the bus and said, "What?
Oh,
You should do your job better, man. Who am I?" And he's asking all the people on the bus.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's one of the rare things that will ever happen. I think I told you this. I was on one of those. It must have been almost 10 years ago.
Y'all saw somebody in their yard or something?
No, well, we're going down the street, and then in the night, and you don't see the houses, y'all. That's the thing. Half the time,
they're so far back.
well, and they're behind hedges, dude. Guess what? People who are famous enough that you'd actually want to go see their houses, they don't set it up that you can see the houses. It's either going to be tucked behind a hill or usually it's all fenced in, either brick fences or big hedges. But anyway, going down the street and it's an open air deal, and I'm sitting on the end and I look and it was William H. Macy.
Okay. Yeah.
Those of you look it up. I'm trying to think of what was his last big show, I think was
He's done. Did he do ER for a while? Yeah, that was a long time.
I'm not
too,
sure.
He's done several.
He was in Wild Hogs. He was the weird guy, wimpy guy in Wild Hogs. What was his big show? He had something on cable. Shameless, I think it's called. Yeah,
he's been in a lot of things though.
Oh no, he is. You'd recognize him. He's been in a zillion. But anyway, I would say, and he's married to Felicity Huffman. She's the one that went to jail for a little bit for the college scandal a couple 3 years.
Wow. Okay.
Laurie
Her,
McLaughlin, whatever,
Full
McLaughlin,
House.
and she was the other one, which is kind of quaint when you think about it now. We were putting Hollywood moms in jail for college, like for paying off or whatever it was they were doing, which I guess is technically illegal. But man, considering the fact that we've got U.S. senators flying to foreign lands right now to try to get non-citizens
having fake cocktails with him,
gang member. Yes. So those of you that aren't, we're kind of like, everything's political, but it's a weird world we're living in these days, y'all. So there's this guy, and there's some things they can't even. Well, this is a jump. Probably go from Rob Lowe at a tour bus to talking about MS-13 gang members in El Salvador, right? So this cat has been tried twice, right? They've identified and there's no doubt the dude's member of one of the most violent gangs there in MS-13. He is not and never has been a U.S. citizen. He is a citizen of El Salvador.
Right. He's not just a father from Maryland.
Also, has had apparently a wife abuser. He's been called. They've got records of that. And he was arrested a while back with ties to human trafficking. And we're not going to get into what type of human trafficking, but it's horrific stuff that these folks do. And he apparently got picked up in another sweep that, right, this weird idea that they're trying now, saying, hey, how about violent criminals who are not U.S. citizens and are here illegally? How about we start sending them back? And they did that. And apparently this guy, I don't know, maybe he was at the wrong place at the wrong time, Juan. Maybe he was getting a skinny latte at Starbucks or something before he got pulled away. And he got put there. And now, literally, U.S. senators are demanding.
Right. But the big deal was that, well, he wasn't supposed to get deported to El Salvador. That was the administrative glitch, because a rival gang could potentially harm him. Now, I'm no semantics king, but if a rival gang could potentially harm you, doesn't that mean if you've got a rival gang, you're probably in a gang?
Probably in a gang.
And we seem to, the people who are defending this guy seemingly overlook that part.
You would almost think
just a dad. He came here. Yeah, he wasn't here, but.
So that's, again, it goes back to what's the David and Juan mantra from day one. They're all lying.
They're all lying.
They're all lying.
I forgot he's one of the cabinet guys, and I should remember his name, but I saw a news conference with him. He said, all these people thinking that if he comes back, he's just going back to Maryland. No, he's never coming back here.
What's his name? Steve. Darn it. It'll come to me another time. But the guy who looks a little bit like Fredo from The Godfather. If you remember the guy that played Fredo.
But so that's the point. This guy, he's been, designated as a gang member.
Yeah. That's what they're saying. In no world. That's what they're saying. Right. In no world does he come back here. And they were basically saying, here's what would happen if he would come back here. He'd go from here to boom. And by the way, the president of El Salvador is saying, no, we ain't sending him back. He's one of ours. But apparently they got El Salvador. And again, apparently that place is pretty cleaned up, man. Like well,
the dude's in a different jail though. He's not in that, because that's what I kept saying. Well, how is he? He's sitting there, looked like in a restaurant with the senator, and I said, well, that doesn't look like that jail.
Well, so that's the kind of stuff we got going on right now. And then the Supreme Court has decided that we've always talked about, or other people have threatened and talked about, constitutional crisis. So the Supreme Court apparently decided, you know what? We need a legitimate one. Let's give ourselves a constitutional crisis. And that's sort of what they're doing now. In a nutshell, here's the deal. Apparently, it is absolutely okay to let in millions, and not only let in. That's the thing too. That's another part.
Bring them in.
Bring them in. Pay for it. Like people were not. They make it sound like, all these people showed up and swam a river to get here. No. We've been paying for planes and flying and not vetting anyone. Like
and
nobody.
Putting them up.
All right. So you can let in millions of people without vetting or any kind of hearings, but everybody needs a hearing to send them back.
Yeah.
How does that work, man? But that's the kind of stuff we're dealing with right now. And then apparently the Supreme Court has decided, hey, we get to make all the calls on this stuff, which is, by the way, that's not in the Constitution. So that's going to be the interesting thing. Checks and balances. Back when they taught us, I don't even know if they teach that stuff anymore. I was listening to something this morning, podcast. It might have been Tim Pool. One of the podcasts, I can tell you, like when I have trouble sleeping, I just put an earbud in and try to just, but man, I was getting fried. I had to, I shouldn't have, because it started getting me. These people were recapping the stuff we've forgotten already about COVID and the COVID lockdowns. Because apparently it would appear that the administration has decided that, we're going to talk about Fauci some more. So
update that website.
Oh,
did you look at it?
I did. So
it's intense. I like how they've got, a graphic of what apparently is supposed to be like his pardon and everything.
Well, explain to people what we're talking about.
So there was, and I guess I'd never been there. It was COVID.org. which was a website,
Government website.
a government website, and it talked about the origins of COVID and all of this, all of the stuff that has been controversial and disproven, by the way. And so Trump's team went in last week, I guess, and basically scrubbed that site and put all new stuff. That it's from a lab, it's all this. Then they've got a big section on Fauci and how he was pardoned for everything, or preemptively, I guess, pardoned for everything related to it.
But they're also saying that pardon first of all, that pardon, presidential pardons do not apply to civil cases. So you can be sued for damage. So you might not, they might not be able to put you in a federal jail, but you can get
civilly,
correct. And the other case they're going to make, and this is another one, guys, Biden ain't signed anything. It was all auto pen.
Right. But some people say that, I've heard stuff with the pardons that they say, well, you don't even technically need to sign it if you mention it. But I go back to, if a man who is mentally unstable mentions it, is that legit?
Well, he wasn't even mentioned that. They actually have footage of him being asked, because they never did press conferences, but on his way out of something one time, and somebody kind of asked about the pardons or whatever, and he was like, had no idea what they were talking about. So again, it's interesting. We'll see what comes of that.
And then on the political spectrum, talking about payback, what's her name? Letitia James, and the one who was elected on a platform of going after Trump.
It's almost like it's almost as comedic as the tape I played the recording a while ago about, you think it's got to be a joke, all these side effects, right? That's just written for comic effect. The fact that Letitia James went after Trump.
After Trump for inflating the value of property on mortgage, or to get a more favorable mortgage, which is something that, most everybody tries to do.
But by the way, in his case, it was under. It was
right.
Under.
It was under. The banks had all been paid back. Her thing, as I understand it, she's got, I don't know if it's a business building or an apartment complex.
2 mortgages.
It's got 5. The one that has 5 units on it. She said it had 4 because you got a better deal on 4 and less regulation on getting the loan. You also got a better deal if you had, if you were married, and she claimed that she lived there with her husband, who is her father.
I forgot. Yeah. I forgot that one.
Yeah, so she had like a 4-unit place, and she said it was 4-unit, but it's really 5. So in other words, did all kind of stuff to get better rates.
It's called projection, folks.
Yeah,
it's called projection, and I know we've talked about this before. One of the hardest things about dealing with somebody who lies all the time is they just expect that you are lying all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do a deal. You just can't. If somebody's natural instinct is, they're not tethered to the truth. They don't care. They'll tell you anything. They'll cheat. They'll do whatever. It's hard to even be honest with these people because they don't believe you. Somebody who lies all the time. So good luck, Letitia. But you know what? Hey, I'm at the point now, I don't believe anything. Pam Bondi and all these folks, it's all, now granted, it's only been 100 days. I get it. It's been, or 90 days, however long it's been. But dude, have you seen anybody? Have you seen any list? No. Have you seen anybody being arrested? No.
I saw a meme of her the other day, and it may have been on a conservative site, where it's basically, her sitting at a desk covered in stacks and stacks of paper with the voice box. It says, "It's on my desk."
Yeah, well, that, and but you know what? It's hard. I understand it's hard to actually get around to doing the job when you're on Fox News all the time. When you were on Fox News more than the anchors, it's kind of hard to. So who knows? We'll see what's going on there.
Speaking of people in the news and historic things.
I mean, I'm
We
embarrassed. I'm
had
embarrassed that we are a little
five
over
women
halfway.
astronauts
Yeah.
go on a mission.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm embarrassed. We're a little over halfway through the podcast and have not talked about the groundbreaking, earth-shattering, space exploring adventures of what's it called? Blue Origin.
Blue Origin.
Blue Origin. Jeff Bezos, one of the richest man. Yeah, I think he's number two. I think he's number two behind Elon. He's got a very unfortunately shaped rocket ship. I will say that from
Dude,
the start.
could it be any more phallic?
Again, it's a comically. I guess it exists like that for a reason, and they made it a. Here's the deal. If this is what people they're just I don't know if it's the bubble they live in or just how moronic. Now, granted, they did put some morons on the ship. Not all of them were morons. There were
No,
six.
some of them actually worked, and I think
Correct.
one or two. One was a scientist. One may have been,
Right. But you notice they didn't do a
an
lot of
astronaut.
talking. You
Right.
notice the people, the women, there were like three women on there who were accomplished. They were either engineers or scientists or like these were sharp individuals. And you notice they weren't acting all the fool. And because part of it is I think they recognize what they did. Okay.
Right. Look, here's the deal. I don't give a rat's behind. If you got $1 gazillion and you want to spend part of your $1 gazillion to take a ride into, I don't even know if it actually went into space, but hey, your money, your deal.
There's a, yeah.
But it's a ride.
It's a ride. Your
It
cargo.
wasn't a mission.
Your cargo. Now,
Not
the
a
funny
mission.
things, and I'm not saying it, but right when that was happening, some of the funny memes out there basically saying, man, you guys are about as much astronauts as, was it Bubbles the chimp, whatever we named it,
Right.
the first chimp they put into space because he wasn't steering anything anyway. There was
Right. No steering. No, you can't do anything if something
dude, they
goes
didn't have to
wrong.
wear helmets.
Yeah.
They didn't have
But
to wear
that helmet would have messed up their hair, Dave, and they had
Correct.
to have those skin tight jumpsuits on.
And then somebody else told me that it wasn't true weightlessness. It's almost like they do the plane rides over the Gulf of Mexico where they can so what I'm looking for copy it's how they did the movie Apollo 13 simulate. They can simulate being without gravity by doing these loops. So basically, when the plane's coming down,
I think it's the whatever from the
typical
altitude
a lot on
shifts or something.
obviously, we're not scientists. We got Katy Perry levels of a maybe a little bit more the understanding of how this works. So when you see them floating and doing all the fun stuff, I don't know that was true. Weightlessness,
It wasn't true weightlessness
or gravity, or
necessarily.
like without gravity.
Right.
It was the ship making that orbit, that not orbit, that
An arc, I guess.
the
But
apex. I'm
there's
going to use a lot of words we're
yeah,
not sure of, but yeah.
The part of the danger of space flight is that re-entry, which they didn't have that. This wasn't much more dangerous than an airplane flight, and probably less.
That capsule had less scratches on it than your car, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, like you see the one that Musk and everybody send out into true space. Those things come back looking
Yeah,
like
they're
they've been
burnt.
through a bonfire. They really, this thing was pristine, and it was supposed to be a big. Jeff Bezos was there with a special tool to open the door to let him out. Of course, they forgot to tell one of the ding dongs in there, and she started opening the door before he got there. And you can see the door start to open, and then some PR person kind of jump in the way, like, no. Jeff has to.
It's again, whoever wrote Katy Perry's speech, and I like Katy Perry. I used to watch American Idol, and I loved her on there. I thought she was real, authentic and everything. But it sounds like whoever wrote her little talk that she gave after was Kamala Harris's speechwriter. It was that much of a word salad. One of my favorite well, first of all, aren't in the media being a bit presumptive in assuming these people's gender? And saying that it's historic. First of all, how do we know that any of the other dudes who went into space now aren't women?
Hey, Alan Shepard. Who knows? Alan Shepard could have been the first
We
woman
don't
on the
know.
moon.
I mean, that's like I said. It's quite assuming on their part. The
like
other
that too.
thing, and one of my favorite parts of this, they all had call signs, which like in Top Gun,
Maverick,
and Goose and all that.
Iceman.
So all of the women on here had call signs. Gayle King was Sunshine.
Ugh.
Katy Perry, let's see what was Katy Perry. Feather.
Feather. All right.
Bezos' girlfriend was Double Shot.
Double shot.
Double
That's
Shot.
an unfortunate name for her.
But
I read she, and look,
I
she
mean, it
might
was that. Let's go ahead and pretend.
double shot.
And the whole jumpsuit thing, let's be honest. Uh, they could have gone in sweats and a t-shirt. It wouldn't have made a difference.
Dude. So, but here's my point. And this is what's so annoying about it. Hey, do it. Don't make a big deal about it. Like, don't pretend you did anything scientific. Don't pretend you did anything earth-shattering.
Don't be offended when people say you're not an
There
astronaut.
are actual. How about that woman? They got stuck for 8 months in space. That's a legitimate. That's a legitimate astronaut. I mean, she and y'all left her up there because you didn't for politics. Musk could have gone and got her months ago. The other guy, they're literally dying up there of radiation poisoning because it's radiation.
Well, I used to laugh. This is years ago when I first started. Yeah, I guess early on in my career, and when video used to actually be on tape, like professional video was on tape, and you'd go into a studio to edit it. And they had, so you probably would have, for a long program, you would have shot multiple tapes. And there was a guy they called a tape engineer. Okay. And his job was basically to take the tape out of, just switch the tape in the tape deck. And I used to joke and I say, I bet those dudes down at Exxon are a bit offended by this guy being called an engineer.
He's an engineer.
He was an engineer as much as these women are astronauts.
So there you go. Our point is this. What you did was cute. It was nice. It was noteworthy. But look, it hasn't turned out well. Katy Perry's getting destroyed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So because she took, she decided to be, didn't realize how stupid, coming out and kissing the ground. Like, darling, come on now. You've been up there. It was 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. You're kissing the ground. You're talking about how it brings people together. Gail, what's her face? Sunshine is all mad, saying they never said this about men. Like, well, no, because the men didn't come down pretending, or the other female astronauts, by the way.
Right. William Shatner, when he went on the one, he didn't proclaim to be an astronaut.
But that's the world
Maybe
we're
we
living
should have
in.
already assumed he was one from flying around in Star Trek.
But that'll show you the disconnect there is in America, and especially with, I hate to call them elites because they're not elites. They're just people in the bubble with money that don't understand how the rest of the country look at stuff anymore. Like not impressed.
Well, but now it's odd because you see people on their side of the aisle and that, that end of the world coming out making fun, just like everybody else.
No. I hate to put so there you go. So let's just leave with this. Congratulations, ladies, for all your accomplishments on that. I was in New Mexico this past week in Las Cruces, the Crosses, I guess, New Mexico. You ever been in a dust storm?
No.
Neither had I up to that. So. And I saw that there was a chances for it, and the winds picked up. And about on the Thursday, I was there, and I was staying at a hotel right next to the Las Cruces Convention Center. So I had a short walk, which wasn't terrible. But you start getting the warnings because the winds are like at 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, and it's just freaking dirt.
So is the dust storm? Is there regularly a dust storm when the winds are high?
The conditions have to be such that it does that, right? So I mean, it was the guy.
Can there be high winds, I guess, without a dust storm?
Apparently there can, but
if it rained,
usually I guess if it kicks up, it does. But and they tell you, very poor air quality kind of stuff. So I'm sitting there. I had a lunchtime speech. Did it and go out, and I had a few hours to kill. Go back to the hotel before an evening, and while I'm at my hotel in the afternoon, I get the emergency alert, which I'm used to getting for tornadoes,
thunderstorm, tornado.
Okay, so the National Weather Service, right? It's a dust storm warning. All right, never been in a dust storm warning. It says for this area until blah blah blah, be ready for a sudden drop to zero visibility All right, I guess that makes sense. You just, and I've heard
Yeah.
that. Yeah, all of a sudden you just can't see anything because you're just in the middle of dust. Now it says be ready for something. Pull if you're driving. Pull aside. Stay alive. Now here's their directions. When visibility drops, pull far off the road and put your vehicle in park. Turn the lights off and keep your foot off the brake. Then it tells infants, the elderly, and those with respiratory issues urged to take precautions. Now, here's my deal. If I'm driving and I'm suddenly in zero visibility because of a dust storm, how far off the road am I supposed to pull?
Right.
I already can't see, right? You're telling me I can't see.
Yeah. How do you even tell if you're off the road?
Correct. And then why in the world would I turn my lights off?
Yeah, that I don't get. And the take your foot off the brake, well, unless your car's in neutral,
Dude.
yeah, if your car's in park, it's pretty much brake. I know it's probably
Now,
not.
I guess, they didn't say this, but I think if you take, that's what they should say, probably take your foot off the brake and maybe put your car in neutral. That way, if somebody hits you,
Right, that's what I would think.
You
then you
move.
just roll forward. You're not taking the impact.
but I don't know what the deal about the lights are. I mean, good grief, you think you'd want to like help somebody see you.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like how far off the freaking road? Like, so I might be okay, but I'm going to drive into a ditch or
Yeah, you used to driving on Highway 308. You can't go that far off the road.
That's right. They've never given you directions for fog on 308. Pull far off the road. You can pull about 6 feet off the road, and then you got a new emergency.
Yeah,
But
roll down your windows and swim.
there you go. There you go. But they're and across
That's
the street.
weird.
Yeah, across the street from me. So I was staying. There's this really nice courtyard, Marriott courtyard, right adjacent to New Mexico State University at Las Cruces. There was a frat house. I didn't realize it was a frat house. A frat house right across the street from me. And I say across, is probably about 150 yards. But from my third floor window, I could see down at the. So they had a frat party on the Wednesday night. And I even took a picture and I gave a shout out to them the next day in my speeches saying, listen, I hope that this university has an audio engineering class or school because I didn't like the music. The music to me sucked, but man, the volume was unbelievable. I thought I was on the third floor
So you could hear more than the typical thumping bass beat.
You could feel it. I could feel like
in your hotel.
I'm 100-something yards away on the third floor. Now, granted, my window faced the deal.
Yeah.
I thought when they started, I thought the music was coming from the hotel. I was like, man, did somebody set up in the parking lot? Did somebody in the room
We got
below?
a festival going on outside.
And it was these cats. And then I was talking to my wife later on that night, and 2 cops showed up. I'm like, oh man, I was encouraged because they tell us all about how college students today, they don't do anything, they're all stuck on their phones. I was motivated that people still throw a party, that the cops get called on. Of course, I don't think you had to call the cops. You probably could hear this music forever. I mean, in the desert, good grief, they might have been hearing this in Arizona. It was loud, but so shout out Theta Chi or whatever the frat.
And was the frat house? Were you that close to the campus, or was the frat house off campus? Okay.
Well, the frat house was off campus, but not far off campus.
Right.
Yeah, no, I was about a half mile from campus, if that. If that. It's very nice campus, by the way. There's some money in universities, bro. Man, listen. I have not been to one dumpy university in all my travels. And I got a habit of doing that now. When I'm somewhere, if I got time to kill, I'll just, I'll go to the bookstore of a campus just to kind of get a feel for it, and
yeah, it's
lots of money.
That was the time when my son was doing campus tours and we were in North Carolina and we just drove through the campus at Duke. And I was surprised that they let me on the campus.
Freaking Duke. Freaking Duke.
Talking about police officers. So we had, and this is a 2-part story. One a little sad, but a little weird. So the other day, I'm on the HOA board here, which I'm not running for re-election, by the way.
All right. Breaking news.
I'm close to done.
Breaking news. Juan says, "Screw this, I'm out."
Yeah, I made up I told him the other day why I wasn't running. Made up some stuff. there's I guess a text chain between the people on the board. There's just 5 people, and one guy sends out a note. Yeah, let me see. I'll call it up, and he's talking about because you remember, I don't know, a couple of months ago we had that little bust at my or
Right.
in my neighborhood. Um, so guy said, looks like another search warrant about to go down somewhere in the hood. And I said, wow, where? And then the guy, here's one of the reasons why Emily, he said, not sure, or marked and unmarked popo. So it's like, popo, what are you, 12? But so then he says there's 3 marked cars at the house by the first stop sign and 7 unmarked at the clubhouse.
Popo would be the
Popo.
slang for the police car or police for those of you that aren't as streetwise as Juan and I.
It's like people on my HOA board.
Right, the popo.
So I'm home. It's still early in the morning. I go right up by the clubhouse and see what's going on. And as I'm driving up, I see there's 7 cars backed in. So I could see in the car, and I could see that every one of them had an FBI bulletproof vest on.
Nice.
So I
Nice.
played dumb, and which is a role I play quite well.
We got a lot of practice.
So I just roll up beside him and roll my window down, and he rolls his window down, and then I act surprised. Oh gosh, I didn't realize y'all were with the FBI. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. And he said, "Oh, no problem." And I said, "Well, I'm just people in the neighborhood talking. What's going on?" I said, "I'm guessing you can't tell me." He said, "No, I can't tell you."
Yeah, well,
And they were there for a good hour, so I do think that they were actually just staging there to go somewhere else.
okay.
Found a parking lot off the road. But then the other thing, and this is the sad thing, and it's but just again strange, and it's I guess it's my lesson on or telling people learn what to say and when not to say it. You don't always have to say anything. So a third person in the group says, not what you think, my house. And the original texter says, LOL. Then this third guy who says, not what you think, because he's talking about the cops at somebody's house now.
Right.
My wife just passed.
Oh. What?
And I'm sitting here thinking, you probably got more important things to do than
Be texting.
deal with this text thread.
So, but the FBI were not there for the
FBI was not there, but it was odd. He had police officers at his house. Like I said, I'm not trying to, his wife passed, so I'm not.
Hey, look, as a general rule, though, it seems to me if your wife has passed and she is still in the house, you might not be texting with your buddies.
Exactly.
I got you.
So, and this is not like some friend group or anything.
It's called suspicion.
Right. Because then at one point they had like 5 cop cars and a couple detective cars and a coroner van at his house.
You got to figure, it's like, hey, somebody's dead. Let's go figure it,
Well, then the next day, the guy whose wife passed said, sends a note to the same group. I want to rent the club. I might want to rent a clubhouse for the funeral service, or the tables and chairs included. And our clubhouse is like a pool house.
Right.
So I'm saying, and I'm not saying anything, but the person said, it's spring break this week. I'm not sure that, kids are probably going to be hanging out of the pool. But then somebody says, oh, yeah, they are really sorry for your loss. And then another guy says, yes, condolences to you and your family. Let us know if there's anything we can do. The guy's instant response, you can bring my wife back.
So, okay, you're dealing with a mentally ill dude. That's
I don't know, but it's like
mentally
I
ill.
wanted to respond to that. You got a second option here?
That's like that's like the stuff on that's even weirder than Facebook. The people that put stuff on Facebook like, "Hey, stop it! Don't make me,"
And that's my point. It's like I said, tragic situation, but you don't need to communicate every instant moment of your life.
Well,
in the instance.
Well, I hope you guys enjoy the pool party wake or whatever it is you guys are gonna have. Gee whiz. Well, you say cops and everything. This is sort of related. This happened here in Houston recently. All right. So in Houston, they recently arrested a 911 operator. You know, the person that you call.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Forget what her name is. It's an interesting name. If I gave you the name, you'd fill in a lot of blanks. But okay. This is no lie. So she's doing, I don't know what the thing, but I think they actually sent her to jail. She's going to jail for a few days. Here's what she did. She was arrested after hanging up on more than 800 callers because she didn't feel like talking.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service.
People would
I have
call,
those days. Yeah.
and they gave an example of a guy called up and said, "Hey, you know what? My wife has passed out. She's unconscious in the house, and I need help, whatever." And the woman said, "Okay," and hung up on him. And then a little while later, you had to call back getting somebody else.
I was going to say, I would assume in Houston, there's multiple people answering the phone.
Correct. But if you got her, she just didn't feel like dealing with it, so she'd hang up on you. And they found over 800 911 calls that it's hard to say she handled them. It'd be like,
Mishandled.
oh, really? Oh, wow, you got an emergency. Oh, it's smoke, smell smoke. Okay,
Yes.
hang on. Click.
You've called the wrong one. I'm the non-emergency person.
Yeah, you need to catch me between like 9 and 9:30 where I still give a crap. You got me. No, I'm out of here. Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, because I didn't feel like speaking. I mean, my daughter was telling me about somebody whose sister is a nun, and you might know better than me, the type of nun who they don't speak; they just pray.
cloistered, I think.
I don't know.
Boy, I hope I got that right. My wife's going to be yelling at me if I don't remember.
Yeah, and my daughter said, "Can you imagine just not speaking all day?" I said, "Sometimes I fantasize about it. To be honest with you."
Well, they do that. They do, like men's retreats that it's silent.
Yeah, they've got.
That's kind of cool. That sounds
the weekend stuff. My only thing with that is, as much as I'd love to, I think I could do it, but there's a part of me that when I got there, I think I'd just go, "Hey,
just got to get something out."
Yeah.
Does coughing count? I mean, I don't know. Give me the rules. What are the actual rules here? Anyway, it's about time to punch out here, but I did read one thing because I'm going to be in New Orleans in a few weeks. I forget, a couple, 3-4 weeks. But it was something, whatever the black trucks, there's some Ivy or Four, the company that's these.
Oh, yeah, the garbage truck.
They've been picking up trash, but it says they're losing the contract. So apparently whoever, I'm sure some criminal, some crook in New Orleans is given but anyway, so it said that they're not going to be picking up trash or spraying the lemony scent. Did you know they sprayed a lemony scent in the French Quarter
It must
downtown?
be like the crawfish smell.
I was not aware of that. That these trucks
I did
apparently.
not, but I heard that that company went well above and beyond. Their only flaw was not being a friend of the mayor.
Correct. Apparently, in politics and in New Orleans politics, especially, that is the most important thing.
Right.
You have to be a friend of the mayor or just a blatant pay somebody off.
Right, because if you're not related to the mayor, it's probably not as quick to give kickbacks to the mayor.
The only reason I read somewhere somebody suggested that this actual competent company was used because of the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl and Mardi Gras this past, right?
They actually had to get it done.
They actually needed a competent company to clean up,
And you hate when you have to get people who really do the work.
I know. New Orleans was better than that. I mean, yeah, no. I think their contract ends in July. So those of you that enjoy the fresh lemony scent that follows the garbage trucks in the French Quarter,
you might need to get yourself one of those little tree
that's right,
air fresheners for your car.
Get ready, because LaToya's friends' trash trucks are coming soon, and they probably won't even pick up the trash. So enjoy. Start composting. New Orleans is what we're saying. Start your own compost. Hey, you know what? I think we have reached the end of the buffet line.
I think we're there.
It is laid out before you, y'all. We're going to push the button, get on out of here, see if any of this stuff stuck to the magic tape in the sky. If you want to reach us, ain't hard. Dave and Juan at protonmail.com.
We're also wherever you are.
Right now, whatever you are doing, do it again. Do it again. And we should be there. Every week we tell you, not a hint, suggestion. We're not implying. We're not trying to be subtle, y'all. It's a freaking
It's a freaking mandate.
It's a freaking mandate. Get out there and live your best life. You having a good day? Make it a better one. Having a bad day? Screw that. Have a better day tomorrow.
Bar's been set low, man. Easy to step over.
Correct. Some days you're having a trashy, smelly day. Just pretend you're putting a lemony scent on it. Put your own lemony scent on the bad day you just had and have a better one tomorrow. We will try to do the same. And see, I got to be in. Where am I going? I'm going to Dallas. I got to go to Dallas this week.
You driving it?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna drive it. I think pretty sure gonna drive it. But so I'll have some cowboy stories when I said like cowboy stories. Dallas is the farthest thing from country. You know, everybody think, oh, the Dallas Cowboy. Ain't nothing cowboyish about Dallas. But anyway, we may or may not have stories to tell then. So good luck to everybody out there. Let's hope that Juan, give us a report back from the swimming wake or whatever it is you're gonna.
Okay, I'll let you know how it goes, man.
You know, I know you like to stand in the pool.
I'll be standing in the pool facing the clubhouse.
Juan will be standing waist deep for this.
Yeah. Isn't this a wig? Why is that big fat white dude standing out in the pool?
Hey, man. I'm on the HOA. Shut up.
Yeah.
For a little while. Not much longer.
Couple more weeks.
Have a great one, everybody. Love you, bro.
Back at you, man. So it's send out graduation announcement time. And I don't know, we're sitting down, and I'm sure somewhere we have addresses written down. But it was killing time Saturday, so Joey would say we need an address, and I just look one up, and and it's easy to find. There's actually a David W. Martin who lives in where the hell you live?
Sugarland.
Yeah, in Sugarland. But I, being the good friend, remembered that your name is Dave Michaels. But anyway, so I'm looking up. I know you do. I mean, you put the name in the town and see if it comes up. One comes up, and it's attached to a police report from the newspaper.
Nice.
Oh, my brother. 2015 DUI. Driving with a suspended license, open container, and the light that illuminated the license plate was burnt.
That's sort of nitpicky. No, wait, who was this on? This was on
my brother.
Oh, your actual brother.
Yeah.
I thought you were calling me your brother, saying, "Hey, bro."
No, my brother.
Best I can tell, I must have been tore up because I don't remember any of that.
Yeah. But I'm talking about that. And my daughter said, do not tell that to Gramps tomorrow. I found this Saturday. She called my daddy Gramps and said, I'm not telling it to Gramps, but you can be darn sure I'm telling it to Aunt Kim as soon as we get to the house.
How long ago was this?
2015.
Oh, it's ancient history.
I know. It's still there, though, man.
Seems kind of petty, though, like all the stuff you throw on top and the light on your drive.
And the light of that.
Man, you just piling on now, bro.
Yeah.
Aren't I having a bad enough day as it is?
It's over. Go home.